find the standard form of the equation of the hyperbola. Hold on. Help me out. What are those characteristics of a hyperbola? The x's and y's are both what? What degree are the x's and y's in ellipses and hyperbolas? They're both squared, but ellipses, what operation is happening in between the squares?
Addition.
Like a circle. Hyperbolas have what instead? Not like a circle. Okay, and we have like h's and k's and a's and b's and c's and oh my. Okay, so what do we got? For a hyperbola, the foci and everything is pushed out away from the center, so we have c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared, in case we need it. C is also the same thing as the distance to the what part of all these different graphs? To the foci, exactly. So when I see the foci are plus or minus 10, what can I say my C is?
10.
What is my C, everybody, if the foci is plus or minus 10?
10.
Good. So C is equal to 10. Where's my center if this is like perfectly distributed and symmetric about the origin? Exactly. So I know my center is going to be at the origin. It's the midpoint of this guy. Blessings. My C is equal to 10, because I can see that over here. My asymptotes, that's interesting. Okay, so hold on. When we go to make our standard form. Question. Ooh, you don't have to stress about this in like any other, what we do with parabolas. Does my x go first or does my y go first?
X goes first.
And if you need some sort of visualization as to why they're saying that and why they're completely correct is because are the foci horizontally apart or vertically apart?
Horizontally.
So it's horizontally oriented, so I can say x minus 0, quantity squared all over, plus, no, it's not an ellipse, it's a hyperbola, minus y minus 0, quantity squared over, stink-a-dink-a-dink. Who am I missing? My A and my B. If I'm missing my A and my B, how is it going to be plugging into this little baby formula over here? Because if I go plug it in, I'm going to end up with 100 is equal to a squared plus b squared, which is great and all, except I don't have enough information. Although I do have a whole other clue I haven't used. I think I see some classmates with their hands up, so let's see what you've already thought about. Ryan Krikorian, go.
So I know like it's a change in the x-axis, so it's horizontal, and the hyperbola is b over a, it's horizontal. So a would equal 4, and a would equal 3. But what I got confused about is if I watch it, it just times it by 2. And I'm kind of confused why I did that. So, yeah.
So Ryan mentioned that he knew what's going on with the slope because I have like a rise over a run. And in this one, because it's horizontally oriented, my A is going to be here and my B is going to be here. There was one little error in your logic, one tiny one that you wouldn't have even noticed in other problems, but this one you do. You said you knew that B was 4 and A was 3. Sadly, you don't know that. What you know is the proportion of B to A is 4/3. I know your brain's like, therefore, but doesn't that technically just mean that 3B is equal to 4A, that this is some multiple that reduces down to be 4/3? Couldn't that be 40 over 30, 400 over 300, or 4 times something random, which is like 7, 28 over 3 times 7, 21? All I know is it reduces down to be 4/3. I don't know what actually was 4 or was 3. Ryan Newman, what are you trying to say?
Oh, I was thinking like in the watch it, they kind of said like it's like 3 or 4 over 3, and they're like, they just
Like a multiple, like 4n over 3n.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a way of thinking about it. But what I could do, though, is if I say b over a is equal to 4 over 3, traditionally in math, we want one equation, one variable, and this doesn't really tell us much besides that I need this to reduce down to 4/3, but check it, what can I do? I do know that c is 10, and that's an important fact. I do know that 100 is equal to a squared plus b squared. And I know that 3b is equal to 4a, otherwise known as a is equal to 3b over 4. Guys, what can I do in math if I have two equations and two unknowns? Substitution. So if you were thinking of just one equation, forgetting that you had two relationships that both had to be true. If I plugged in 4, and if I plugged in 3, 16 and 9 make 25. It's too small. I knew that my b had to be 10. If a was 3 and b was 4, that would be 3 squared 9, 4 squared 16. 25 is not 100. So that would have told you just going straight across didn't work. Now you could start doing multiple things. you could say, hey, what if it's times 2 times 2? What if it's times 3 times 3? What if it's times 4 times 4? But that's not very mathematical. It's not invalid. Shh. It's not invalid, but it's not as mathematical as something like substitution. That says multiply up the a and up the 3, have this, solve for one, plug into the other. So if you want to see the solving that would lead there, I would have 3b over 4 all squared plus b squared. This would lead me to 9b squared over 16 plus, I'm going to use my not afraid of fractions trick to get a common denominator, 16 over 16. Which would allow me to actually shortcut the process. Since I got 16ths on both, I could just combine my fractions. So 9b squared plus 16b squared. All over 16. I could multiply that to the other side. I could add my 9 and 16 to get 25. So I just have a little bit of math in order to get to my 1600 divided by 25. And then square root it, dividing by 25, I do believe that I would end up in, I don't know. 16 times 4 is 64. B squared is equal to 64. And I'm looking for b to be a positive number, or I'm squaring it anyway. It doesn't really make a big difference. I don't even have to go any farther to some degree to get my b squared. But if you want, it is helpful to maybe think of b as 8, because then I can come back and say, well then, if b is 8, 8 over what will be 4 over 3? Or I could just plug in, 3 times 8 is 24, 24 divided by 4 is 6, and 6 squared is 36. Dun, 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 dun. Well, I don't know, make it look pretty, but done. Now, once again, I know the watch it was like, ooh, just think of times 2. I mean, yeah, it could have been 8 over 6. Yeah, it could have been times 3. 12 over 9. It could have been times 4. 16 over... And I was just looking for the right pair that works. But once I plug in, 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. 36 and 64 makes 100. So even though the slope of the line was 4 over 3, what I ended up having of 8 and 6 would have the exact same reduced slope. Just be careful. Anytime you have a fraction, it could have been reduced, and if it could have been reduced, I can't necessarily say just by the fraction what the original numbers were. Do you see it? The 6 and 8 work in the 10 squared formula?
Yeah, I'm just confused at how you found out the correct multiple is.
Oh, I didn't figure out the correct multiple. The watch it did that. I just did the math and said that b over a is 4 over 3. And unlike you, I didn't make the jump that had to be, because this is just the ratio. But the actual could have been out here somewhere. And the focus is what says which one it is. But I didn't go jumping to which one it was. I just said, okay, fine. Multiplying by 3. This is true, like we would do in all of chapter 7. And then times a. 3b is equal to 4a. I solve for one variable, I plug in for that one variable, and I solve with math. And mathematically, I get the only possible answers are 8 and 6. I didn't think of what multiple. The watch it did. The watch it said, just try to multiply by 2. The math says, okay, that one works. Multiplying by 3, you could have tried plugging in, it doesn't work. But that's a very experimental approach. So I showed you the mathematical approach because you tend to appreciate that one a little bit better. Just a good old-fashioned, you had the right fact, you just went the wrong direction. That would have sometimes worked, but this time didn't because I needed a squared plus b squared to make 100. 3 squared plus 4 squared is 12. Ryan, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, in the video, they kind of did it like 100 equals 4m squared plus 3m squared, and then they just solved for it. They added the, like, terms and then just solved for it. And then,
So they were using this whole idea of multiples. So they were doing it more mathematically than I was just saying. I was thinking they just said, oh, try timesing it or multiplying it by 2 and trying that multiple and seeing if it works. So they went a little bit more mathematical, but they went a creative route. Mine's more a traditional route of whatever. It's an equation, 2 variables, solve for one, plug into another equation with 2 variables, and then you'll get there. Yeah, it works. Both ways work. Okay, that was number 11. It was tricky because it looked like 4 and 3, but it was actually 8 and 6. How about number 12, though? Because number 12 gives you some good stuff, I think. Although the asymptote days, we had another slope thing going on. We'll get there in a second. But first of all, what do we know when we see vertices like this? I'm going to graph them. Hopefully all of you guys have already visualized if you're asking this question. We have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 14. Sounds good. 5. Horizontally or vertically oriented? Because they're horizontally apart. My midpoint is going to be my center. And if you need to, you could do the math, but I am going to end up at 7, 5, because that's halfway between 0 and 14. So I have my center. Not only do I have my center, but I also have my what measurement gets you the vertex? The A. So then if I have my A is equal to 7, there we go. If I have my A is equal to 7, is it 7 one direction and 7 the other direction? 7 one direction, 7 the other direction. I can plug in some stuff. I can plug in my x minus 7 squared all over 7 squared is 49. Plus 1 minus 5 squared. No, it's not plus, it's a hyperbola. Bad habit, bad habit. There we go, minus. Wasn't a bad habit in 10.3, but it's a bad habit in 10.4. Minus. What am I missing? But I know A, which makes it a little bit easier than this one. This one I didn't know B or A when they gave me some asymptote clues. This one, I do know A, and I know an asymptote clue. So like you said, Ryan, if I take the slope of the asymptote, I do know that slope, 5 over 7, does need to come from, okay, hold on. My A is the over guy, because it's horizontal, so my B is going to be the upwards guy of whatever this is supposed to be. So yeah, it's going to be B over A again, except this time I'm not so lost or I'm not so dependent on extra steps, because what can I make for A? There you go. So if I multiply 7 to the other side, I end up with B is equal to 5. That's just math. It's just math. Some people can see it right away. Some people do the step, do the algebra. B is equal to 5, so I have 25, and I'm pretty sure they just wanted me to find the standard form. Too many markers. The standard form. Okay. They're not markers, they're pens. You know. We got 11, we got 12. Let me talk about logistics real fast since I have the honors pre-cal in different periods also listening in, hopefully. So where are we? We are to where some of you guys, hopefully a lot of you guys, just got your notes checked because I ran around the room, not literally, but I went pretty quickly. I rushed around the room looking at the different notes that were ready to go with 10-1, 10-2, 10-3, 10-4. Got those graded, you're turning them in, even though they're not technically due until, well, the end of the week, because you should probably have them done before spring break, right? And then you're doing the test over spring break. What test? Oh, this test. What test? Oh, this test. This test that needs you to get into WebAssign to access it, etc. We'll talk about that in just 1 second, but we finished chapter 10. Just went over a couple of homework questions. What is your job today? Well, to get stuff done. maybe a few of you guys, those of you that didn't have anything done when I just logged into it and clicked on your name to open up your homework assignment that was blank, is hopefully some of you are doing 10.4. Others of you are hopefully going to come up and grab a textbook to make life easy, or going to WebAssign the e-textbook to get into your review to play with that. Are there tons of problems? No, not too many, but enough to have you go all the way back to the beginning with lines and parabolas and just trying to get everything all compiled. And then over break, once again, you're doing a test. When is the test due? April 19th. Seems ridiculous, but check it. Isn't that the day we get back? Because the 17th is Easter, the 18th is Easter Monday, no school, the 19th is the A period. And I believe it's an AB week. Just kidding. I know it's an AB week. So when we get back from break.
Wait, when's Easter again?
The 17th. Oh, okay. So Palm Sunday is this Sunday. Good Friday is during break. Easter Sunday is the end of break, but you guys do get the day after Easter off as well. I think hopefully we all do, but we'll see. And then on Tuesday is period A day. So the test is due by 8 a.m. the day you get back. Right? So if you do not have any numbers or emails or social media accounts or whatever, Discord groups with the kids in the class, you might want to make sure you have at least somebody that you can reach out to and work with. Doesn't mean you have to do a whole test with them, but you are allowed to collaborate, you are allowed to use notes, you are allowed to use your resources. However, as you take this test, what am I going to be checking very carefully to make sure you actually are showing me understanding of the math? Word. Make sure that work gets scanned and attached. As we go to WebAssign, let's double check that that test is up. There we go. I'm going to freeze the screen for just a second. I'm going to get you up that WebAssign test, which should be... Where'd it go in the schedule? Thought it was showing up today. Give me 1 second. Oh, it is up, but it's hiding. Un momento, por favor. What is today? The 6th. Oh yeah, it's my mommy's birthday. Okay. And my preference is that you're actually reviewing, making sure you understand it is a required homework assignment, etc. But see if you get the pun. I thought it was funny. Ready, set, there's the password. I will copy and paste it. It was clever. It was just a burst of genius last year. I was trying to think of something funny. You get it? You gotta say it. It's one of those you gotta say, and then it's like, oh, I get it. Because we're doing conics. Oh! And then you say it out loud in your head. Khan Academy. Alright. Some people are still like, huh? Anyway. Do the 19th, the day we get back. Let me make sure that no other homework is showing up. I think from last year when spring break is different. Let's get that one out of the way. That's fine. Okay. Here we go. Because most of you won't know how to spell it, even though maybe you at least give me that it was clever. Okay, password for the test. Khan Academy. There you go. Beep. Alright, here's what you want to do. In the next 7 minutes, you want to be started on your review and have 10.4 done. If that is not you, you're going to have to bring me your homework spiral at some point today or tomorrow before break. Friday, I am unavailable between Spring Fling and an AP Calculus mock AP. If worst comes to worst, you don't get your spiral graded by me, what can you do? Scan. Or take a video and just show me all the pages for 10.1 to 10.4, including the review. Oh no. But 10.1 to 10.4 and the review and not the whole notebook, but the beginning title page and then 4 sections with a little bit of the review.
I got it.
Or probably a video would be easier and you just like go going through the pages, getting to chapter 10 and then showing. Why am I saying the next 7 minutes? Because I'm going to use the last 7 minutes before 10:30, grading your notebooks, and perhaps something is happening at 10:30 that we will derail some of our getting work done plans, and that is, I did not know until this morning, so it is what it is. Yeah. ASB elections are then next period, so today is just kind of
ASB elections are next period.
Yeah, they're
right, during third period.
We have the unit. Wait, what?
But it's like 2 minutes and
Oh, it's like a
you're just voting.
minute video.
Why was I not informed of this?
Why can't we do like a history?
Quick questions, Chris asked.
Dang it.
Oh, for notes for me to grade? Cool. Anybody else have notes that are now ready for me to grade? Because I would love to read them. Question, Jackson, go.
So we just have to get the review started.
Yep, and I can check it before break. Otherwise, you're scanning everything sometime during break. Do you guys get your notes turned in on Google Classroom so I can go give you 10s right now and have one less thing for me to do later? That'd be nice. All right, I'm gonna set a timer. In 7 minutes, I'm gonna make a round of homework spiral checks. If you have 10-4 done and the review, you can get that grade. If not, well, catch up. Love you all, but catch up.